And so here we are on the way to Jerome Johnson's, the Energy Clinic and Cooperative. And he's at 436. And here we are coming up to his house. And it's pretty easy to see that it's undoubtedly one that's energy efficient. So he's got these bottles that undoubtedly are collecting heat from the sun. So let's see what Jerome has to say. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's the Johnson Clinic, right? And there's Jerome working here. So Jerome, I finally made it over. Oh, it's like an oasis. And he's working on stuff because he's a genius type. John SUN. Isn't that beautiful? This is fantastic, Jerome.
Oh.
Oops, I finally made it over here.
How's Joe, by the way?
He's good.
Oh,
he's
yeah?
really good. I actually met somebody on the train, and he's going to hook up my electricity because I'm ready for that fight. They say it's theft of electricity, and you've been fighting a long time, but it's not about me. Let's talk about you. What would you like to say today?
What I'm trying to do is get the complete concept of the emergency, the Sandy. Sandy is part of a whole thing that's going on. So when Sandy hit and you had lower Manhattan gone, no electricity, and then you had people screaming and upset emotionally, it's obvious to me that it's a bigger story than one person. It's a concept of a philosophy that's going on between government and let's say Con Ed or the utilities. I only was looking at it as objectively. I didn't expect what happened to happen. I had all of a sudden from Sandy started getting involved with solar energy again, all over again. From the building began in '79 with the recession and the tremendous amount of oil costs. Corporations were going bankrupt.
Is this when this was done, Jerome?
When that started, right.
I see, okay.
We in turn got the newspapers, then the state of New York retained me as an expert in energy conservation. So I got the letters from the commissioner requesting me to go to City Hall and meet with Mayor Koch with the PR. Well, that was an evolution. Everything is a step. You get old automatically. Parts of your body keep breaking down, like my body. My mind is still fighting, but the body is killing me in pain.
Yeah, and all this stress, right?
Well,
of what
stress,
they shut your electricity off?
Yeah, it's maybe 6 weeks then.
That's a terrorist tactic, you know.
No.
I'm in Gramercy Park, and I asked to see if I could. I stopped paying my electricity because I was walking into it, and I said, all I want is a proper two-party contract. I want to know who I'm buying electricity from. I'm happy to pay you. It's not about rates, it's about rights. I have a right to face my accuser, or the one who's purports to be my creditor.
Right.
So why? And I have it filed with the Public Service Commission. I have a case. So I'm saying to see you now, who you've been at it for a long time.
Look at this. This
is your thing,
example.
and you've been to Washington D.C., right, to the White House.
Yeah. I've been to the United Nations in '97.
Right.
Who would have thought that this kid in Brooklyn would end up growing up to be, let's say, a renegade, if that's what the word might be when you don't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when my father came to my office before he passed on, he bluntly said to me, "You're doing the work at the White House? Are you kidding me? How come you didn't tell me about it?"
Right.
Well, because I don't walk around with a thing over my head.
Right.
This was only put up about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
People have been saying you should be plastering this whole neighborhood with these things on the trees.
Right.
I don't think of that way. First of all, I'm a white man in the neighborhood of color. People don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to be important beyond what they are.
Yeah.
You got to play it down.
Right,
so
right.
you try to play it down by just being yourself. Since I never was important.
Right.
Even when I did the work at the White House, it was just low.
But you're quite an artist, Jerome. Look at how you've got this design
all of this
here.
is done.
This is unique.
Why throw out the rocks when you're trying to get a garden? Take the damn rocks and throw them in one place. In fact, that pedestal I helped my father make when I was maybe 12, 13 years old.
So you've lived here with your father?
He made that. No, this was at his home.
I see.
But when Mom died, I brought it from their home here.
I see.
Because even the things that he did, I've inherited emotionally. The way you do things. What are you screwing up?
Right, it's your legacy.
Right.
It's your legacy.
Take your time. Like a woman is taught the baby girl how to cook, cut and chop the potatoes and the carrots, put them in the pot, and then at night when they're eating it, the mommy is saying to the baby, "You help me.
Right.
I applaud you. Thank you."
Right.
And the kid feels good.
Right.
You criticize the kid. Who the hell, what kid wants to end up going out of his way after he's been criticized day after day to end up achieving anything? They feel negative about life.
Now, what was your father? What was his profession?
He was a policeman.
He was a policeman, I see.
Yeah, and it was rough.
He was, huh?
Yeah, well, when your father is a cop and you lie like any kid and they catch you in the lie, guess what they do? They grab you and they bang you on the behind. Like, don't think you're going to end up lying in my house. I got to look over my shoulder all the time to see the people I'm dealing with in the street, whether they're artists or not. I'm going to have to do that in my own house, not in my house.
I see.
And after 3 or 4 times of getting caught by him, I learned my lesson.
Yeah, right. Now the police lie all the time. Yeah. They're not giving rights. There's false arrest.
They automatically lie.
They're told to lie.
The minute that you're being interrogated, they're allowed to lie by the law to entrap you.
Right, to a certain degree, but we have to go a little bit deeper than that.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me where your legal case stands right now.
The legal case, all I know about the case is that the attorney that I retained 2 years ago, the second day, ignored what I told him. He was supposed to end up filing papers for fraud against the city because they knew damn well I owned the house. They have all the documentation. They ignored all the documentation that I ended up giving them in order to get my reduction in taxes.
That's because they're trying to see you as a legal fiction. That's why. The lawyers, it's not a good way to go with fraud. As soon as a lawyer deals with the word fraud, they've already got a back door out of it. So what are they saying? You have to be out by when?
No, what the attorney did was on the third day. Hi there.
How you doing?
Okay.
Hey.
I told Arnold that I was going to have somebody come to help me do a story. She's got a television program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How long have you been in the neighborhood?
A year?
A year, yeah.
But I know him
Yeah?
for more than a year.
For more than a year. Good.
My son used to go to school there and I used to pass there every day. He is such a wonderful man.
Oh, so the neighborhood loves him and they don't want to
Loves him.
They don't want to see him leave, right?
No.
All right.
Crazy?
Well, I'm here to put him on a TV show.
He's there for all of us.
Yeah.
He is there for everybody in the neighborhood. He gave, he shared, everything he could.
Can I put you on television?
Yeah, no problem.
Where are you from?
What's
your?
No, I'm in a mess now. I got to go and change.
Oh, okay.
My job.
Okay. But you've got a beautiful voice. I'll be here for half an hour.
Okay, I'm gonna
come back. Okay. Isn't that nice? She wants to look nice to honor you and your work, Jerome.
Well, her husband has been helping me. I help. You know what the problem is? If you are brought up with a pattern of behavior, which is a habit. Yeah.
Why do you let her come in the evening? Like when the kids is, unlike my son, you're teaching him little things.
You think I should come back in the evening?
In the evening time, because my son, he teach my son a lot of little things.
Oh, really?
Scientists, you know.
Maybe next week I can do that. Come back. Yeah. Stay in touch with Jerome, because I love this man and I love the story, and I'm loving the neighborhood because of people like you.
I don't think he should leave.
Yeah. No, we're going to keep him in. I know.
Get more people, or I have to get Stephanie to come over.
Yeah.
Everybody come over.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's organize, and I'll come back next
Get
week.
people to come and stand up. You know, you tell the neighbors.
Yeah.
Mr. John and everybody come out.
Okay, that's what I'm about, community television.
Arnold said he was coming over to try to get the generator operating, the gasoline generator.
He coming just.
Yeah. And I thought if he was going to be coming in the morning, she could at least photograph him breaking his butt trying to get the damn thing going, because it's hard.
He's on his way coming. We come over there and he's on his way coming.
Okay, great.
All right?
Thank you.
Naomi. Anyway, what we were talking about, like Arnold.
Oh, look in here.
Arnold's been fixing the car. Oh, there he is.
It's nice, the birds here.
Well, that's one of the things that I have as a pleasure. The rain goes in that stainless tank. It comes off, look over your head, comes off the roof, through the gutter, drips down through that column.
This column?
Yeah, it drips.
This? Oh, I see it. Beautiful.
It's that reflector.
This is incredible, and it's a piece of.
Then goes in there, and then the birds come, and squirrels come, and then there's a pump.
It's a work of art.
You know, for making the water, and then the kids coming home, they come over and they wash their hands.
Oh.
Everything is fun when you do it with imagination, because
Right.
kids have imagination and adults don't.
Right, but you have an imagination.
Well, because I never grew up. Maybe that's what it is. 83 years old. I haven't grown up yet.
You look great. Now, I understand they want to bring you and your wife into court, and she said she's 88, and she...
Well,
what did you tell
she's
me?
divorced.
Oh, I see.
She doesn't live with me. She's a divorced woman from 1967.
I see.
I never even told anybody that I had an ex-wife that's involved.
I
But
see.
somewhere when the attorney attempting to intimidate me, I had already canceled him. I said, "You're not doing what I want. I didn't ask you to go to the bank and make a deal with them. I told you to end up, quote, filing papers for fraud." And
Yeah.
he ignored me. And then he said to me, "When you come tomorrow with the money, I'll listen to you and I'll talk to you." I came with the money and he still ignored me. Well, by the third time, which was like 3 more days, I came to the conclusion I can't deal with this guy.
Of course
Because
not.
emotionally, I didn't feel he was concerned about me.
His last loyalty is to you. The first loyalty is to the court, the second is to the bar, and the last is to you. So who's going to win
I
a
didn't
case?
know that. And that's right.
Yeah, who's going to win the case? Not you.
Think about this. Think about this. My mother dies. There's a will. My brother knows that I'm living at her home, taking care of her as a custodian and the house. That there's a document that she signed to indicate that all the money I'm laying out, I'm to get back after the house was sold. He knows that, goes into a court, doesn't tell me, and claims there's no will. Not only isn't there a will, but then he intimidates to the court that I attempt to blow his head off if he came to the house. In other words, we're talking about pure evil. When I go into court and I find what's going on, because they say, "Who are you?" "Well, I'm Jerome Johnson." "Well, wait a minute. We got papers filed by an Arnold Johnson. Nothing was ever said about anything like you being around." That he showed me the papers. On the papers, handwritten, on typed papers, so that the first person that ever looked at the paper would react to
Emotionally.
Mostly for one reason. Normally, legal papers are all typed. So here on the very bottom of this page, scrawled in a different colored pen, indicating that my brother threatened to blow my head off with a shotgun. Now, you know damn well
That you threatened to blow his
Yeah.
head off with
Yeah.
a shotgun.
So what does that make the judge think? I'm the loving man? No.
Right.
And then as every month he he added to it. The mistake was, he said that the shotgun was of great value, an antique, and that he had the serial number and everything on it. Now think about this. It's all very laughable. I'm threatening him through a door with a shotgun. He doesn't live in the house. And he can write down on the document, since it's a valuable piece of device, that he's got a serial number and everything. And the court ignores the fact that when my father got sick, all of his weapons my brother took to get out of the house, because my mother wasn't comfortable if he came home with a tumor of the brain that he might do stupid things to himself with the guns that are in the house. He was a policeman. Therefore, he had all his...
You mean your father or your brother?
My father was a policeman.
I see. And he got a brain tumor.
And he had a brain tumor.
And your mother was worried that because of his cop background, he might
blow himself away.
Blow himself away.
Susan.
I see.
So she said to my brother and I, come over to the house, and then said, take all the damn weapons out of here. Which were done. I had a Winchester. My wife didn't want the Winchester in this house. So she went and told me, get it out of the house. So I called him, and he ended up with all the guns. Now, years and years and years later, he's claiming to a court that I had a gun in my hand, looking through a door, and I threatened to blow his head off. Wait a minute, you know what this is all about? Lying is lying, and lying coming out of anyone's mouth is destructive. It's poison. And people do not dare question a lie if they don't think they can come up with an answer that makes them happy. So no judge is going to go to any lawyer and say, your client says you're lying. No judge is going to do that. They're already part of a family. This attorney claims in the papers that he gave me like 5 or 6 weeks ago in the mail, after 2 years, mind you, he's writing in the papers that I'm ignoring every letter and phone call to me by him. And the sad part is, he's claiming the same thing about Jacqueline Johnson, which is the first time that anything ever came up about her. So I called my ex-wife up, and I went and I read the letter to her. She says, what the hell is all this about? I said, you never had a letter from this guy? Because I said, I swear to you, I never told him about you or anything. It was my headache, my problem. And she says, no, he never wrote to me, he never called me. The man is a liar.
He's a lawyer.
A lawyer, yeah.
A lawyer is L-A-W-Y-E-R is really spelled L-I-A-R. Yeah. And how you know they're lying?
Yeah.
Their lips are moving. It sounds like a joke, but I swear to you, we have found this to be the case. There's no virtue. There's no morality. There's no decency. Look at your neighbor. She's standing up for you. You're having the kids play over here. You're creating a community. You're a valuable
There's
part.
a lot of people also, though, the guy that's just plopping by with the ball. During the summer, I approached. I said, what do you do all the time? Playing ball. Don't you have anything to do? He says, no, I haven't been able to. He says, but I said, I listen to WBAI. I listen to Gary. Oh, he says, I listen to it too. I record all his programs. So I tell him that I have gone to Gary Noel's office, to help with certain projects like that. When in Japan they had the atomic thing break down. So I had my ideas and I went there with information. The point that I'm making, I then said I got a lot of typing to do, to put onto the DVDs for this problem that I've got with my home. He says, I'll come and help you. But I had told him that I was frightened of losing the house. He says, no one's going to let that happen. After I got to know him 2 or 3 times, he grew up with my son. So he's living here a long time. After 2 more times, I realized I couldn't have him working on the computer. He didn't know how to even sentence structure and balance them out. He didn't know how to use the computer, the left and the right margin. I was sanding with him and saying, line 3, expand between the third and the fourth word, put a little bit more space there so that the whole sentence would finally spread out.
You're an artist, aren't you, Jerome? You're not just an inventor, you're an artist. I can see.
God gave me a gift.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I only know that I see things exactly the way they are. I try to interpret what I'm looking at and to enhance, if I can, what I see. Like watching the birds and the squirrels and that thing.
Right.
There's a pleasure, sitting up here and working, and then all of a sudden hearing the birds.
Right.
That's a hell of a pleasure.
Right.
To realize all of a sudden that you're part of nature.
Yeah.
See, I don't see what we create as human beings important. I think it's how we take care of nature and how we take care of Mother Earth that she'll reward us. No man rewards another person unless he's making a buck. I mean, even it's a major unfortunate problem. Think about it. Even men involved with women. The women have come. I've had women come to this place. And I'd say, how come you're coming? Oh, I want to learn how to do certain things. You want to learn how to put a shelf up? Well, why? Well, I have a shelf in the bedroom of my kid's room. He'll end up putting things away. He won't throw everything on the floor. I said, well, don't you have a guy in your life? She looks at me with a smile and says, sure. She says, but every time I ask him for a favor, I got to at night pay him back. And so
wow.
What did you just say? So she's telling it to me bluntly. I don't feel like screwing when I don't have to screw. These are women that feel comfortable enough with you
that they'll tell you
to
that.
talk to you like a human being, not that you're going to hit on them.
Right.
And when you have those kinds of people coming, and they were black and they were white, because all people were coming here, it was a solar house. It had nothing to do with me. It was what we, as a crazy bunch of young men, decided. We want to take a building and make it into a solar energy center. And as a solar energy and conservation center, maybe we can influence the younger people in the 70s, instead of getting trapped on the street and stealing a hubcap. Hang out here. You can see what we're doing. You can help put some wood up, gain a skill, get newspaper coverage, get interviews by reporters, and make you feel good. And I had kids doing that.
Wow.
They actually would come from school and work here, and then I put a proposal together with NYSERDA, which is the state energy department, and with that they ended up automatically ending up becoming part of the news story, had their pictures in the paper, and they were big guy on the campus at school because everybody saw the newspaper article that he was proud to promote. I too.
Just one sec. I just took out my shotgun mic because I want to do get better audio with Jerome, and he told me something I want him to share with you now.
When I was running photoelectronic research and I was a lighting expert, Frank Perry and his wife retained my services. They had done David and Lisa, and now they would be going to be doing another movie, and this movie was going to be on the streets in the back lot areas of Pennsylvania, and they didn't want to pick up any noise or anything else, so they got experts. I was involved with lighting, and we lit and backlit scenes with battery operated lights, which had never been done. I had just finished doing Lord of the Flies.
Really?
And with Lord of the Flies, I had done that. And so the grip on that job, working now with Perry's, brought me into the picture and said, I know a guy in the lighting field that's electronically knowledgeable. So they hired a guy who designed and built this to keep the mics free of any extraneous sound, because they were recording and shooting at the same time. Movies are usually shot at one time, and then you do an overlay with the sound interviews. They were shooting it at the same time. They didn't want the sounds of trucks or airplanes from the airport. So this guy came up with the invention of this phone that would slip over the mic. I had come up with the battery-operated lighting equipment. Another guy came up with bringing in from Switzerland the first stereo battery-operated tape recording. I've got the whole damn thing written
So you've
up.
always been with creative people. Let me put it on to get your voice better. Hang on. So Jerome,
What?
you were telling me that you've been around creative people.
I was the first man in the photographic industry that became known for electronic development of certain components, which in turn, when you're 17 learning how to do that stuff, and then you're in the military, and then you open a company, you're a baby. But if you're a baby and you got a brain, a little bit of a brain even, and you are more humble than acting like some hotshot that came out of college and you're a genius, people want to teach you. And they are comfortable with you because they want to interact with you as a friend. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're making money or not. It's like they respect you enough to want to end up telling you what you don't know. I used to talk endlessly. I still do, I think. I had a man come in and he indicated once that he was told to visit me because I would be able to educate him about a lot of things that he had on his mind. Well, by the third time, he was bringing me lunch and a chocolate malted. And he would pop in out of the blue without even an appointment. And he said, I was in the neighborhood and I thought, I know that you don't get out, therefore, quote, you'll be able to share your lunch. I brought you lunch. One day, 6 months later, he called me up. Well, it wasn't him, it was his Dee Dee. Dee Dee, he had a secretary by the name of Dee Dee, and she called me up, and during that period of 6 months, I used to get notes from him that she would scribble or he would scribble and say, give to Johnson. And he would rip out magazine articles about lighting equipment, in Europe, and mail it to me, like a little note. Think you might find this of interest. And then one day she called me up and said he'd like to invite you for cocktails, at his home. He's having a party. And then guess what I found out? This was Sherman Fairchild from Fairchild Camera and Instrument Company, which as a youngster in the Navy, I was an aerial photographer in my fighter squadron. And that was my job, using Fairchild camera equipment. So here I am as a kid using equipment that this man, as an elder, that I now am doing business with as a businessman, becomes my mentor.
Wow.
We've got a world of people out here that you don't dress. You know how we used to dress? Open shirt, sports jacket, a multi-millionaire. And one day, I looked out the front window and I saw this Cadillac pull up. And a man get out. And I didn't pay attention. And then all of a sudden, like 6-8 minutes later, my door was being knocked on. And it dawned on me, he's the guy that got out of that Cadillac. But he never would come in and say, you know who I am? A lot of people, it's got to be important. And there are people that just do their job like the horse that pulls the wagon. It's happy, it got a job, it gets fed, it gets groomed. And the racehorse, that's the Madonna, that is the extra special. I'm that other kind of horse. I just keep pulling. I'm losing a house.
I don't think you're going to lose the house, Jerome.
No, you know what they're going to do? They're going to play a game. They're going to let me live here until I die, and then they're going to take the house. I've already been told that. I've already had people been telling me what's going on.
What are they going to take it for?
For not paying of taxes.
I see. And they get you on the tax roll through the electricity or the water?
No, I think it was the water, number one. When this house was abandoned by my wife in 1979, due to that oil embargo, not embargo, but the cost of oil, corporations couldn't survive. Apartment building complexes were closing, and owners of the buildings were being abandoned. We had 20-unit apartment houses over 14 or 15 every day being abandoned in the city of New York. And the Koch administration then started to take over the buildings so that the people that were living in them would automatically end up getting heat, because the owners ran. They said, I don't need this house.
Right.
I'm not going to pay the taxes, the oil, and I don't even get it back from my tenants, because remember, you can't end up increasing the price of your rental due to laws.
Wow, so they shook out the landlords too.
So the landlords ran, and this went on. It's been newspaper article after newspaper article, of which I've got all that stuff. I used to collect it.
That's probably why you had a lot of reporters. You were always the interest of the media. But now I think they want to block you because your story is very important for many reasons.
I think what's going on is that there's a lot of racial problems as well. You go to a politician, they don't know who you are anymore. And if you walk in and you're a white man and the whole staff and everybody else are of color, you know they're going to be respectful. They're going to do their job, sit down, write what you want, why you want to, meet with the assemblyman or the councilman. But you also know that you got one hell of a shot of it getting through to the boss. I know that. I lived in an all-white neighborhood, a wealthy neighborhood. That it became wealthy. My black friends would cause them irritation. They would come and say, who's that party living down the street? Why? They pop their head out of the window seeing me walking down the street and say, can I help you? And the man would say, I'm going over to the Johnsons. And they would say, oh, you know them? And they would then tell me. I had 2 people come to my mother's funeral. They weren't white. And the people at the funeral, quote, my brother's wife, can I help you? Seeing the black people coming. Is this where Frances Johnson is lying in rest? Yeah. Oh, you know her? Yeah. Oh, I guess you want to see Jerome. He's over in the corner. Wouldn't even bother to go out of the way to say, oh, well, I'm her daughter-in-law. You cannot change people. You don't change people.
But I can see from that lady, she was a lady of color. She loves you.
Of course, but that's because people are people. But the natural instincts, if you've got a religious problem, you stick with your own religion normally than to end up looking at it more objectively. The same thing is in race. If you're a woman, you have a tendency to band together with women when they have a gripe, just like guys do the same thing. This is normal. You got to be kind of different and unusual to end up being open-headed and objective. For instance, I'm trying to survive, and rather than compromise, that lady's husband was coming over here to get the generator going. I've had 3 times my very neighbor offer to do it and help me. Talk. And you know when he would talk? There would be people around here and he wanted to make himself look important. So he'd end up, oh, Johnson, I love him. I'm going to end up tomorrow. We're going to pull that generator up. That went on for a solid 4-5 weeks. I told the guy across the street about it twice. And 3 or 4 days ago he came, and guess what? The guy had to be Superman. I had a rope on the generator. It's a big, big device. And he went like this, and he grabbed the rope. He gritted his teeth, and he pulled it twice. And he had pulled it from the basement up onto the back porch. And I looked at him. I said, I don't know what you did. How'd you do it? He says, I'm strong. No big deal out of it, no nothing. But he's always working on the car. So I found some lights that plug into the dash, like emergency lighting. And I have a box of them because I buy lots of stuff in the lighting field. I went looking for something I could give him other than money, because I already gave him the money. Something that he would feel personal when he's using it. And when I gave it to him about 3 days ago, he looked at me. He says, you found what you mentioned to me? I said, yes. He says, you have no idea how I appreciate this, because whenever you're working on a car, you need a light to see what you do. I don't have anything. This is perfect. So he made me feel like, my God, that stupid $5, $6 light was more important than the money I had been giving him before. In other words, it's that stupid little things that you do based on knowing the person and what they enjoy.
Anticipate their needs.
By how you get to know them.
Yeah.
They help me because they know I'm crazy. Look what I'm building here.
Can you explain this, Jerome? What this is?
Yeah.
And I can take a little tour wherever you want me to go. I'll follow you. This show is all about Jerome Johnson.
Well, I hope it's about people that are crazy doing what they believe is honest.
Yeah.
Here, this. Come here. You're gonna see something. This is what I had as a project for the last all summer. I was going to end up getting batteries. Here.
My goodness.
I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 batteries like this. They were in the back for the solar house. Then when this problem came up with the electricity being shut off, it hit me. Instead of being panicky, I'm going to go completely solar.
Right.
So I had to get the batteries pulled from the back to the front. They're so damn heavy, you got to only carry one at a time. Then I started to charge them. Found that out of the 30 I've got, all I've got is 16 good. Now they're $120 each metal unit. Each of these little units is $120. So what am I supposed to do with the other 16? You recycle them. You can get them living again. How? With a lot of effort. But then I said, if I'm going to build a piece of equipment, I want to make it so it's mobile, to show other people, like that people that got trapped by the Sandy problem. This is the kind of stuff that you can have as backup.
Can you explain how much that can power? Can it power
this unit?
A household? I know it couldn't power a
that's
heater.
what this can do. This baby is 80 amps at 12 volts. That means it's 800 watts of energy to start with. If I put another bank of batteries, I would have double that. So all those extra batteries, if I can get them going, I got more and more and more power. This in turn charges the batteries. It's all of this I had to design in order to have all the controls and everything, the fusing, etc. And guess what? Hold on.
Can I follow you?
No, just wait there. They're going to have a surprise for me and one for you. They came in this morning. I didn't know it. Yeah, I came downstairs and I found this laying. You know what's in here?
No, let's open it.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
All right.
It's the photovoltaic panels for making the electricity.
Wow.
It's another couple $100 that I'm spending.
Yeah, but it's well spent. Now you just need a knife. Okay. So for viewers farther down the rabbit hole with Paula Gloria, we're seeing a historic moment. Jerome Johnson, who is being accused of not paying taxes or whatever, has actually discovered that he's been no burden to the community. If anything, he's been an asset teaching people that we have energy all around us, and why not harness that energy? And he's opening up these. Where did you order these from, Jerome?
These I ordered from a firm in California, and in turn, I kept waiting and waiting. When they're going to come? And then this morning, here I am. I'm coming down, and I find these boxes.
How did you find this firm?
Well, I'm involved with these companies for years.
I see.
My whole purpose of the solar house was to inform the public of what's going on around the country. I have 230 corporations back this operation.
But these corporations are now being demised and raided by all this fraud going on in Wall Street. Have all of them survived? I doubt it.
I don't know anymore. I really don't know what's going on.
But I'm glad you got your photovoltaic cells, that's for sure.
See, there's so many companies that make equipment, but again, I've got to be always aware of what I'm doing, not what they want you to do.
Yeah.
Now, if I can figure out how this would come out comfortably. Okay.
You know, Joe's father was a very, very skillful machinist. He could create any kind of tool or machine.
Uh-huh.
And he was a very loyal union man, but at the very end he had diabetes and he couldn't stand up, and his union never protected
Look
him.
at this. It's making electricity. The minute I took it out,
It's beautiful.
the light went on, right?
Explain how this works.
Well, energy hits the cell. The cell converts the rays of the energy into. Oh, this is beautiful equipment. God, this is worth every nickel I spent.
And you spent $120?
It was $65 each one.
165. And now, what is for the average person who
This is
doesn't
gorgeous.
understand electricity? What can this power? Can you give us some idea?
This is
Could
putting
it
out.
power a computer or?
Oh yeah, this can easily do that. This is putting out 20 watts at 15 volts, which is 1,300 milliamps. This is a beautiful piece of equipment. I've seen a lot
Can you
of it.
explain it for novices like me?
All this is merely.
Can you do a toaster? Or what can you do?
No. You can't go thinking with photovoltaics that you can automatically end up doing a toaster, a refrigerator, all those high-end electrical consuming appliances were created when they wanted your money. If the very people that are now turned to photovoltaics, and they're called the Renegades, they're out in the Midwest and all over, there's thousands and thousands of people who've gone off the grid, and they have learned how to live in the daytime. You're going to cook your food using a solar food cooker or making electricity in the daytime. Store it at night so that you don't freeze to death by using a wood stove. So you learn how to use all the elements that have been created by nature at the right time. If it rains, that's when you collect the water. You store it like me, I'm flushing the toilets. I have now gone through all my backup rainwater. I have, I think I got 2 or 3 gallons left. Now, I'm talking about, I flush a toilet with 2.5 gallons of water. Because I'm a vegetarian, I don't have the same problems that other people have with what they eat. I could literally take my feces, put it in the ground with the compost, and use it like taking horse manure. I certainly am not doing that, but I'm only making it as a point of reference that the feces from a human body, which is vegetarian, there's nothing in it that is negative. It's vegetable.
Wow. Can this power a computer?
This could, yeah. The two of them. The two of them.
2 of them would power a computer?
Yeah.
A monitor even?
Well, I can tell you how much is coming out of it right now. Just if I go down and get a, well, I think I've got one here.
I could see my reflection here.
Yeah. Well, the point is, I'm excited by looking at it because it's so beautifully made.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm involved with manufacturing and design when I was young. So when well, here's another unit. This is what I've been working with before. You notice it's different?
Yeah, that looks a little more primitive.
No, this is a crystal, and this is a mono. This is a mono, and that's a. I forget the hell the words. It's funny.
Did you make this by hand? Because it looks a little.
Yeah, this is the whole thing I made.
I see.
Not this part.
And this is to reflect sun.
Yeah, with my lighting.
To throw it on the middle part?
Right. I can actually increase it about 50 or 60% in efficiency by bouncing additional sunlight onto the panel. Not just what hits it, but by reflecting more on it.
Right.
And because when you're doing that, you're overloading it. Overloading it makes it hot. If it makes it hot, it decreases its efficiency. So I designed it so it's mounted on a heat exchange, so the heat is absorbed by the metal panel. The metal panel is cooled by water, so I'm getting hot water out of this unit and electricity. But that's the nature of a person when they are experimenting.
Can you explain these simple bottles in the window?
Yeah, people like yourself came the next time out of appreciation would bring a bottle of wine and say, for the information you gave me, you didn't ask me for a nickel. I brought a bunch of people. I know I'm overtaxing you. I don't want to exploit. So can we hang around after everybody else leaves from the house and sit around and talk?
And have a bottle of wine?
And I brought a bottle of wine.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so you kept the bottles?
I kept the bottles.
And that's memories of all those good times, huh?
Well, we're talking about 800 bottles. 800
bottles?
Yeah, I've had about...
I can still...
Well, it's about 600 bottles, but there's about 8,000 people came through the building.
600 bottles?
Yeah, no, the upstairs, the front.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you walk around there with the camera and look at the south windows, let me walk in.
Yeah,
I'm going to show you something that's gorgeous, and then I'll
bring a bottle of champagne next time, okay?
That's only if I solve the problem.
Well, we're going to solve the problem. I
don't think so.
I don't drink, but Joe doesn't drink, so we've got this bottle. I don't know where it came from. I've been waiting
for
the
right... Well, look up there at the south.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine people walking here and they stop cars?
Here, you be here because the mic won't get you.
They actually stop cars and they roll the windows down and they say, "Excuse me." And yeah, I like your house. What do you like about it? Well, it sure as hell is different.
Yeah.
And then I'll say to them, well, what specifically? Well, I like the garden. It's not manicured. It's free form. You got a pot here and a plant growing there, and you got this and you've got that, and then you got the plant, the windows upstairs. And you got all those bottles, and then they'll look and say, with a smile, "You must be a happy old man, but it's obvious you don't drink, because you drank that much, you'd probably been dead." And I'd laugh and say, "Hey, you're smarter than a lot of people, because they know damn well you can't be that kind of a drinker."
Right.
And I don't drink. I'm not even a drinker to start with.
600 bottles, wow.
It's a lot of liquor.
Now, Jerome, you were saying you worked with a lot of creative young men. I always thought it was just you. That's the first I heard.
Oh, no.
Tell
we
me
had about 20 some odd people involved with the project. It was a solar energy co-op. So I was working in Park Slope. I had people coming. I had people that came all the way up from Philadelphia. This place was popping.
Who were some of your good friends working on it? You said, I can't remember the term you used, young crazy guys or renegades.
We use the word renegade when we think outside the box. It's not complicated. I use strong language because people that their ears perk up.
Right.
But the fact is, they were ordinary businessmen, people that had homes. And because of my taking a home to make it into a demonstration project as a research center, I wasn't living in the building. I didn't have to end up, getting up at a certain time and making it neat or pretty. It was just a house that was empty. And
so you took advantage of a bad situation when your wife had to abandon this in the 79 crash, I guess you'd say?
Yeah.
Energy
Well,
crisis?
it was a murder. The house, you see across the way, you throw the camera right over there. The new houses, the land that was there was owned by this man, his brother, and two sisters.
You have to stand there.
And the man I used to help, because when we were building this house, rebuilding, my girls on the little wagon would take all the cut off wood across the street to Anthony, and he would use it in his wood stove to heat the house that he had.
Right behind you?
Yeah, the house that
says
now,
for sale?
Yeah, well, there was that, no, the property that he had his house on was sold, and that's what happened. They bought the land, and this new contractor's now put those buildings up. But what used to
they're
be
ugly
there,
buildings compared to yours, no offense.
well, and this man, Anthony, when he had a house, it was a little house. And it had to be, God knows how many years old, hundreds, I guess. But the fact is, he and his sisters and brother lived in it. But with the problems that we had in '79, they assumed because of how they were living that they had money under the carpet. And people went and bludgeoned one of the brothers to death trying to get the money.
Oh, my goodness.
So they murdered people, and that's what happened. A couple of weeks later, my son came home to this house, and in turn, going into the kitchen for lunch, 2 kids had broken in and were in the kitchen, scared the hell out of him.
Oh.
At this point, I'm telling my ex-wife, time for you to move. Typical wife's reaction, I can take care of things. Well, eventually she did move, and I didn't know. And in the process, the heat was shut off, the pipes froze and broke, and when I came to visit, thinking that they were living here, the kids were home, you know, in the afternoon, there was water coming out of the door.
Was this in 80 or
This was in 79.
79? So when she said she could take care of herself, that was in what, 78?
79, all that period. That's when all this hell was breaking loose.
So within 1 year, she said she could take care of it and then left within a year.
Well, because the murder, then his my own child coming into a problem, and I found out afterwards, opening that gate as she was walking in, you hear this gate. A car pulled up where this car would be. 3 guys jumped out and they surrounded her and they said, "Your pocketbook."
I see.
And so with the mugging that she averted by giving them the pocketbook, she decided it's time to move.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So there's always a history, and without a history, you don't have a clue why people do what they do or grow up to be what they are.
What about, you said Jackie Robinson's house was here?
That's that corner house that
Can we walk over there and you could talk about him? Or?
Well, when you are leaving, if you want to walk
that corner right there?
You see with the little,
Here, look on my viewfinder.
you see where the light is blinking? You see the house that's right there? It's a little red thing sticking out?
Okay.
Okay, that's the house that Jackie Robinson used to live in.
Okay, and they're going to make that historical?
Yeah, they already have tried to vote it in, and it's probably going to be voted in.
Now, at one time they wanted to make yours historical, right?
They talked about it, they wrote about it, but it never was at that level.
Not yet.
Well,
but if you prevail on this,
oh, I don't care if it's historic. You know what?
No, but you want the ideas to go on.
The fact is that this house is so different, with the amount of people and love. We've had.
Hey there, you want to be on TV?
I see you, Justin.
You know him?
Yeah, he's the one who's going to help me with the generator later.
Oh.
That's his wife that you were talking to.
I see.
There are people that know what you're doing. There are people that care about what you're doing. And there are people that are too important to even spend the time to talk to you. And those are the egos that I don't have any desire to be involved with.
Right.
You follow me? Coming to you.
Yeah.
It's like, look, they put a tree in, and I requested it after the other one died.
This one?
They took a tree out. They took a tree out. There's nothing in the photograph here, but the fact is they put another tree in. It's not done well. I'm now the guy that's going to have to pay for all this. I have nothing to do with this. But they claim this is my property, the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So they don't put the tree properly. It raises, and as you can see, I had to go out and buy a tool and a diamond blade to cut this so that you wouldn't step, and it still keeps getting up, so it's already up again.
Wow. Yeah, I see. So do you have any concluding remarks for this session?
Come with me.
We've taped almost an hour. I want to make this the Jerome Johnson
I want to get him over here to at least so you can photograph him attempting to pull the rope and get the generator going.
Okay.
There is no water in this house. The city knew it because the newspaper articles wrote about it. The city reads the papers. That's why they recruited me.
All right.
And with no water in the building, they then claim I owe them $17,000. You know what I owe them now for water?
What?
$90,000.
I know. Look at, here's your hero. All right, you're the man of the hour here. What's your name?
I know.
Hey, and how long have you known Jerome?
Well, not too long, you know, but
Okay.
a little while.
So what are you going to do today?
Well, I'm gonna help him start the generator
Okay. Where shall I be?
in the back.
Just shut the camera and...
Okay, so Jerome, explain this generator. What's going to happen?
When you lose electricity because of a storm, the idea is you end up buying and making your own electricity with a generator.
Mm-hmm.
The solar house did that 25 years ago. What we did was realize that I had this equipment in the building, and now that I've got to get it working, we pulled it from the basement up here, and now we're trying to figure out, can we get it to work?
And these are skills more and more Americans are going to need to have because the infrastructure is falling apart as the bank fraud continues and less people know how to fix things.
Yeah, I come across.
There are very few people that give a damn about fixing.
Okay.
This country is based on buy, and manufacture.
Bye bye, baby.
Yeah, everything we buy overseas, so it's a money machine, and that's all you can do.
Oh, look at, there's more of your bottles there.
Yeah, well, this is all the movie equipment.
Uh-huh.
This is all the stuff that I manufactured. This was at the White House.
What was Lord of the Flies?
Okay, this was at the White House.
That was at the White House.
Yeah.
All right.
This is the equipment that I made.
Very good. Well, thank you.
This is all the stuff that was there. This is a warehouse where everything's just piled up so that you get rid of it.
Yeah.
And when you don't have a garage, that's what happens.
Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, 1919 to 1972. The first African-American Major League Baseball player, lived here from 1947 to 1949. As an infielder for the Brooklyn Dodgers, he was voted Rookie of the Year, 1947, and Most Valuable Player, 1949. Won the National League batting title, 1949, and led the Dodgers to the NL pennant in 1947, 1949, 1952, and 1953.